Hello and welcome. According to the Pathfinder poll application, this video's topic is number 348 and next week Tuesday's topic is 349. So let's start with today's topic. We have three projects and their names are Cubic, Space Mesh and the Root Network. I have already written their names in this Excel file and I'm gonna go through this Excel file, but we will visit the CoinGecko pages and the websites of the projects whenever necessary. Let's start. First criteria is ranking. According to my calculations, Cubic is placed around 200, Space Mesh is placed around 500 and Root Network placed around 700 on CoinGecko. So according to this information, for Cubic it is getting an orange mark because if the project is located around 200, it is harder to increase its ranking. For Space Mesh and for Root Network, things are easier since they are located around 500 and 700. The second criteria is category. While understanding the category, let's check the web pages and try to understand the basic concept of the projects. Let's start with Cubic. Cubic is the first ever useful proof of work layer 1 blockchain. So we've seen this concept before, useful proof of work layer 1 blockchain. I do not remember the project names, but I have ever seen about this concept. But let's try to remember. So in proof of stake, the miners are being selected prior to deployment of the blockchain itself, and we know who's mining the blockchain itself in the proof of stake. In the proof of work, anybody can be miner all around the world, but in useful proof of work, the miners who is performing well is getting more rewards. It's a bit complex system, but it is increasing the efficiency. That's why it is useful proof of work blockchain. So Cubic has this infrastructure, and on top of it, they have been building an AI mechanism which is checking everything on the chain itself, making analysis and try to improve the infrastructure, and it is under development. Plus, Cubic will support smart contracts in the future as well. So Cubic has a unique infrastructure, an innovative infrastructure, and development is resuming. That is why we cannot see some ecosystem elements, we cannot see decentralized applications in the ecosystem yet. It is a very long-term project. So according to this information, we can tell the category as layer 1 plus AI plus smart contracts, and it is getting a green mark since the category is good. The second one is Space Mesh. Space Mesh is a proof of space-time project. Like Chia project, Space Mesh is also providing a mining mechanism with the support of the free space in our hard disks. So that is why the name is proof of space-time, and it is an innovative infrastructure like Cubic. That is why this one is also a very long-term project. It is under development as for now. That is why we cannot see ecosystem elements, we cannot see decentralized applications in a wide range yet. So according to this information, Space Mesh is a layer 1 plus smart contract project, but we need to remember it is a proof of space-time project. The next one is the Root Network. Root Network is a bit standard layer 1 project with the support of smart contracts as well, but this one is a proof of stake blockchain like many others in the crypto industry as for now. So since this project has a general infrastructure like the other ones, it is easier to enlarge the ecosystem, and when we check the ecosystem page, we can see they have around 20 decentralized applications elements, and around 10 of them are actually working smoothly. So according to this information, we can say for Root Network is a layer 1 plus smart contract supported blockchain. The next criteria is the circulation percentages. We need to be very careful for all these three projects in the circulation percentages. As you can see, Cubic has around 10%, Space Mesh has around 2%, and the root network has around 10% of circulation supply. We need to be aware of the ages of the projects as well. All three projects have around 1 year old age, so together with the circulation supply, it makes sense since they are very young projects. The circulation percents can be low, but for Space Mesh, 2% is extremely low, and 10% in 1 year is still low number. So we need to be very careful on that one. So for Cubic and Space Mesh, I have already marked as red, as you can see, because I have already considered together the ages, the ranks, and the circulation percentages. So I have given red mark, but for root network, since the rank is around 700 and since the project already has some ecosystem elements, I have given an orange mark. So we have understood the circulation percentages and the ages of the projects. Next criteria is the exchanges. If we check deeply, we can see for Cubic and Space Mesh, they have been listed on 5 or 6 exchanges. So the situation is in the middle, but still getting fully green mark, no problem. For root network, you can confirm it has been listed on many centralized exchanges. For GitHub, all projects are getting fully green mark. Their GitHub is active and the posts are coming up regularly. For Twitter situation, all projects are getting fully green mark. All projects Twitter situation is okay, no problem. For the scope, the root network is getting fully green mark with large scope since the infrastructure is already working and we can see around 20 ecosystem elements with a good documentation. But for Cubic and Space Mesh, these projects are under development. They are not fully ready yet, and also it's gonna take a huge amount of time to make these projects scope large because the infrastructure will take so much time to fulfill. So for the block shares, Cubic is getting a fully green mark. The block share situation is good. For Space Mesh and Root Network, their situation is in middle. They're getting light green mark. For YouTube, I could not find the Root Network's YouTube channel, so it's getting a red mark. For Space Mesh, the situation is good, fully green mark. For Cubic, the YouTube situation is middle, light green mark. For Team, all projects situation is in the middle. They are getting light green marks. We can find all the projects team members and we can find information about them, and they are active in social media a little bit. But if we go deeper, we cannot find too deep information. That is why the situation is middle and they are getting light green marks. So we have tried to understand the basics for these projects. Now let's try to analyze the projects. Let's start with Cubic. Let's go to the CoinGecko page and try to understand the project. Cubic has a useful proof of work layer 1 blockchain system which is not fully ready yet, and they're working on AI on the blockchain as well. And after 1 year, the project is not ready yet. We cannot see some ecosystem elements. This project is a very long-term project. The infrastructure work will resume for a very long time. After 2-3 years, maybe we will understand if this project will continue its service for a very long time, or maybe some new technology will replace this infrastructure. But if this new technology coming, of course, Cubic will adapt as well. But the main point we need to understand, we need too much time to understand the position of this project in the crypto industry. That is why we need to be very careful on pricing, we need to be very careful on the ranking, we need to be very careful on circulation supply. So After 3 years, we need to analyze this project again to understand. But for short term, if a very hard bull market hits the market, of course, the price will jump at some point, but we need to be very careful about the ranking, circulation, and the infrastructure position. So that is all for Cubic. For Space Mesh, this one is an innovative infrastructure project as well, like Cubic, and this one is again a very long-term project, which the infrastructure is not ready yet. That is why we cannot see some ecosystem elements yet. And like Cubic, if a bull market hits the crypto market hard, the price will jump at some point. Again, we need to be very careful. The circulation supply is extremely low and the rank is high and the infrastructure is not ready yet. So the next one is root network. For root network, things are a bit different. Since the root network is a general proof of stake blockchain with the support of EVM, they already have some working applications inside of their ecosystem. Root network is a long-term project, but not very long-term project like Space Mesh and Cubic. So we can predict some insights about the root network. If a root network resumes their operations smoothly, and if root network enlarge its ecosystem continuously, in the near future, we can see a price jump. If the bull market hits crypto industry so hard, of course, the root network's price will jump at some point, and after this jump, we still can stay inside if the development is resuming, because the ranking is not really high, but we still need to be careful on the circulation percentage, of course. But there is one more thing that we need to be careful on root network. Root network is taking these protocols very serious, so they're creating special protocols for the users, for the developers to develop with the best user interface with easiest style. So the root network has a potential to grow in the ranking. So that is a positive thing in a mid-term prediction. So for all these projects, 3 projects, that is all I can say. If you have any kind of questions, please leave a comment and I will try to reply them. Please do not forget, nothing is financial advice in the videos and I'm not a financial advisor. Hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.